the black and white mode, once you turn that IR flare on, it's like a whole nother world. That's 12x zoom. This thing is a menace. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Live What You Love. Today we got a pretty cool one. So I got a new day-night scope. It just got shipped to me. It's called the ZULUS V2. I got the 3x12 and it's HD. This thing is amazing. The packaging comes in. I know you guys don't really like unboxings. I'm not a huge unboxing fan either. So I'm just gonna go ahead and show you, but because it is really beautiful and you can tell they took a lot of time, I am gonna show you kind of what it looks like when you open it. You get this real nice picture, and then you got some startup menus, and then underneath those is the actual scope, which I have mounted. So there will be a scope under all that stuff, and there's a mounting bracket. Now I already have that mounted on my Ballista Megabat Reverse. It says OMOA, and then there's an arrow pointing forwards. So that tells you how it's supposed to be mounted on the Picatinny. Now, what we're gonna be doing today, this thing is kind of like a computer, right? So here's a picture of the top of this scope. It's gonna show you the majority of the controls, right? You can see that the very top button stands for on and off, and if you just quickly press it, it stands for standby. The next four buttons act very similar to a D-pad on like a PlayStation. You have up, left, right, and down. This allows you to navigate any of the menus. This is the IR switch button. It allows you to toggle between color and black and white when you hold it. And if you just do a short press in the black and white mode, it lets you adjust the light intensity. Long press of the menu button allows you to access the settings, and a short press allows you to change the crosshair color. If you long press the picture-in-picture button, you get exactly that, picture-in-picture. If you short press it, it lets you toggle between different levels of brightness, stages 1 through 5. Long pressing the volume record button can activate RAV, which is recoil activated video, if the setting is on. A short pressing gives you immediate recording for up to 10 minutes. You see this little knob, this little mini one right here? Let me see if I can show you. This controls magnification. So move it all the way to the left. That's 3 magnification. All the way to the right, it's 12 magnification. Now, if I spin this right here, right at the back, that's gonna clear up my reticle. So whatever my screen is, the stuff that auto-populates on the screen, it's gonna clear that up. Now, say I change from 3 to 6 on my magnification. Then, let me pop this up. I would go up to where my objective lens is, and I would change the clarity there for distance shots. So this is the one you're actually messing with to clear up when you're shooting. You have an IR flare right here, and then here's one of the coolest parts. On the back here, you see this little red circle around this dot. So that's a laser rangefinder, which is freaking awesome. I'll get more into that in a little bit. This part right here that unscrews, the battery goes in right here. It comes with 2 of them, and they're both rechargeable. And I wanted to familiarize myself with the whole thing, so I came out yesterday and I jacked with it a lot, probably for over an hour. And I didn't even, it has like 4 hash marks, kind of like when your phone charges, it'll be like bing, 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 bing. And I didn't even lose a single hash from all of the stuff I did yesterday. So I speak very highly about these batteries. They last a very long time. The scope overall, super, super good clarity. I chose to zero mine. Obviously, most day and night scopes, people are gonna put them on guns. But the 3x12 version, there's kind of a cheat sheet if you contact somebody at DNToptics and they'll email it to you. I have that, and I've already used that. I'll put that on the screen here, and I'll put it in the description in case you want to download it. One of the things that is awesome, but also kind of disappointing at the same time, is that it has screen recording So I can screen record anytime I take a shot, or I can talk, and it has audio and visual while you're zooming in, zooming out. But if I go from day version to night version, it will cut out and it will stop recording, and you'll have to hit the record button again. So if you go from day to night, it does that. It doesn't seem to have any issues with zooming in or zooming out with the audio. One thing that kind of bugged me, because it would have made it way easier to show you guys how to use this thing, is that if you hit the settings menu, it'll pop up, it auto-populates on the left-hand side of the, when you're looking through the scope, of the left-hand side of the screen. And it has like zero reticle, ballistics coefficient, all these different things that you need to kind of fill out in order to get this thing to function to its full capacity. And now you're probably thinking, okay, ballistics coefficient, this is a crossbow, what the heck? So like I said, that the guys at DNToptics have kind of a cheat sheet, and it works pretty doggone well. Because I started yesterday, I think I shot at 20 once, and then I zeroed it at 30. So I'm gonna make sure that we're still towards the end of the day. I don't know if it's because I was shooting a lot and the bow just, maybe I was pulling the cord back not perfectly straight or something like that, but I was having a little bit of deviation. So we are gonna re-zero it at 30 yards first. Because I can't show you guys the menu and go into the menu in screen recording, and just, that would have made it so much easier. I'm gonna have to describe it as kind of stepwise so that you guys can follow along if you do decide to purchase this. It's on a big sale. It used to be $1,000, and now I think it's like $777. It's 776.99. So it's like 777, which is a cool number. It's like winning the lottery. But I don't want my camera to overheat, so I'm gonna get right into setting this up. This is the Bog Death Grip Infinite tripod. This thing is awesome. I finally just bit the bullet and got one. And then we're gonna jump into doing the zero. So let me get all that set up. The one-shot zero and the ballistics are the two things I'm gonna focus the most on, because that has to do with accuracy and you being able to hit your target. Hitting a couple of these buttons and learning what the buttons do. It's gonna say that in the menu, and it says, it's very simple. Each button pretty much has two functions, like a short function and a long function, depending on how long you hold the button down for. It will do a separate thing. So I've got the Death Grip Infinite set up. I've got the crossbow in there. I'll show you guys how to load this thing. It's really, really cool. It's one of the best selling points for this type of crossbow. At 30, I've got a little dot down there. Let me hit screen record. Okay, and I'm on day mode, and I'm screen recording. This is the first shot for our zero at 30. Always remember to turn your safety off. Okay. And then let me zoom in. Seems pretty on. Okay, yeah. Let me objective lens. Yeah, that's directly under where I was aiming. It's really, really on. So the zero from yesterday worked. And this is, I don't know if this is the most accurate crossbow or anything like that. It does pretty well from 30 to probably 60. I'm sure there are more accurate crossbows, but I can tell you for damn sure there's not another crossbow that loads this easily. Let's put another one down there and aim at a different dot, just to make sure that we are pretty close to on. And for you guys, I just want to show you how easy it is to load this crossbow. Okay, let's see. So there's a foot strap at the bottom. Just stick your foot in there, grab this like you're gonna do a bicep curl. Pull up. It's perfect. You're loaded. Now you just need a new bolt. All right, here's shot number 2. I'm gonna aim at this black dot, the pretty pronounced one, kind of to the right a little bit. And I'm going to zoom out when I do it. Probably go from 4.5 power. And then remember to turn your safety off. Yeah, I mean, that's so true. Holy cow. Let me zoom in on that for you. The one-shot zero on this thing works so well. I mean, that's right where I was aiming. Right on top of that. Okay, I just wanted to show you guys how freaking awesome that thing is. So from 30, I was aiming right there at that one, and then I was aiming right there at that one. Okay, so before I moved over, I'm at a range right now, and I just was in the 30-yard lane. Now I'm in the 50-yard lane, and I'm at the back. I'm kind of in like there's a bit of a shed roofing over me. I'm doing that so the camera doesn't overheat. Please forgive if the picture's a little off or anything like that. I know it's not the prettiest background. So those first two shots dialed, right? And now the two things that I said that I want to hammer in, I don't need to tell you how to pick out a reticle color or a reticle or what suits your fancy there. But I want you to be able to take the ZULUS V2 HD 3x12X, that's the full name. I want you to be able to take that thing, put it on whatever you want, zero that thing in one shot, which it legit is one shot. I zeroed it yesterday, I shot, and I shot another one below, and then you put your reticle over where you were aiming, and then you have the shot, the actual shot, and then you freeze frame it when your reticle is on the one that you were aiming at, and then you have a deviation here, and you got a little bit of X, a little bit of Y deviation, and you kind of take a picture with the reticle on where you wanted it, and then you can move the reticle without the screen moving, and you move the reticle the Y distance, the X distance, and then you save that, and that's how it auto calculates for the zero. If you do it correctly, it should take one shot. For me, it legitimately took one shot, and I'm very happy to see that I put this in the back of my truck. I was driving, it was bouncing all over the place. I'm happy to see that even without it being handled like really precariously or like walking on eggshells, it held that zero at 30. Now the second thing that we said we wanted to talk about was ballistics. So why do we need ballistics data for a crossbow, right? That's for guns and stuff, and we're not using a gun. Well, like I mentioned, the guys at ZULUS, or the guys at DNToptics, if you give them a call, they're very used to crossbow hunters using the 3x12 scope, the ZULUS V2 especially. But that 3x12 fits crossbow hunters exceptionally well. That's what I'm running, and I love it. I wouldn't shoot farther than that. I'm not going to zoom into 20 and shoot that. I don't even know if the crossbow would be capable of that type of accuracy. Who knows? But the ballistics data, I'll give you a quick run through. I always take notes when I am learning new things or when I just need to know certain things. So for this, the guy who helped me out at DNToptics, his name is Matt Hernandez, so thank you. You were awesome on the phone, dude. You made it super easy to understand. He sends you an email like right away too. It's as you're on the phone with him, you'll get it. But you need to pick a zero distance. That's one of the first things. And 20 to 30 yards was considered an average distance. I wanted 30 yards because I don't know, I just went with 30. I figured it was good. With the ballistics data, it doesn't really matter where you zero, and we'll talk about that in just a second. We needed the scope height as well. So my scope, if I pick the center point of my scope, like right here, and then the bolt, consider the bolt like the bore of a gun. So the center of where your bolt hits, so halfway up the height of your bolt, and then measure from halfway up the height of your bolt to halfway to the direct center of your objective lens. And for me, I did it in inches and then I converted it to centimeters, and it was like 6.95. So I think I ended up just putting 6 centimeters, or 7 centimeters, excuse me. Let's see if there's anything else. The twist rate is listed on here. I did not have to input that into my ballistics data. That wasn't even like a selection. So I'll skip that one. Velocity, actual velocity in feet per second. You can get that through by shooting through a chronograph. Thankfully, I've done a lot of videos with the Ballista Megabat Reverse. So I already knew that the bolt weight was 407 and that it shot 373 feet per second. So you do need both those numbers. So bolt weight in grains or grams. It also had that option. And you need the speed through a chronograph. Mine was 373. I know this thing claims, a lot of people say it can shoot over 400. That's with a fantasy bow, or that's with a fantasy bolt that, or an entertainment bolt. That's not actually going to be what you hunt with. The more realistic speed was 373. The caliber was also mentioned. Now, that crossbow bolts are relatively all the same diameter across. They don't really have micro crossbow bolts. So the caliber can be estimated as 0.345 inches. Let me read that and make sure that I'm saying that right. Yeah, so caliber size can be estimated as 0.345 inches. Now the weight, total weight, we already went through that. That was the 407. Length, not as important, but you can max it out at 3.150 inches. So the length, it's just flying through the air. It doesn't, it's talking about, it's like if you look down the arrow, it looks the same as looking down a bullet. You don't see the length. So it's not cutting through more air, it's still pushing the same. So that's why the length doesn't really matter. But use that 3.15 inches. Now the ballistics coefficient, this is the one that's a little tricky. It starts out saying G1 and it'll have a number. Mine was standard to G1 and it had like a certain number, 0.01 or whatever it was. It wants you to change it. It says that crossbow users have had the best results by switching from G1 to G7. And then besides choosing G7, you also need to put a numerical value. And what has worked best for their customers is to use the value between 0.04 and 0.08. Now mine right now, I started out at 0.05, and then I'll explain how you tell if it's correct or not, but I ended up having to change mine all the way to just outside of the recommended. I have mine at 0.09 instead of 0.08, but that worked the best for me. And the ballistics coefficient is what you tweak, right? So if it's not shooting correctly at range, you're going to tweak your ballistics coefficient, and we're going to talk about how to do that. I like to make things very easy to remember, and like mnemonics, or just if I can take a lot of things and summarize them into one general rule, I'm always going to do so. And with this, using the ballistics coefficient, we were able to. So let me talk about what happened, and then I need to go get those arrows. So yesterday, got zeroed in at 30, and then I'm shooting dimes pretty much, just like today. Go grab my bolts, and then the reason that you do a ballistics coefficient and fill out all that ballistics data is because on this model, the ZULUS V2, we have the laser rangefinder right here on the top. So if I select that, I have mine as continuously ranging. You can set it as you click it and it just fires one beam. You can set it to go for 5-10 seconds, whatever it is. Mine is, if I click it, I want it to continuously range until I click again. So when I click that button, the laser rangefinder, a separate reticle is going to pop up on your screen. I'm going to show you that. I think we can actually do that one and continue screen recording on here, so let me do that real quick and then I'll come back to you. I'm still in day mode. Everything looks pretty clear. Let me make sure. Yeah, it's as clear as we're getting. And now if I hit, let me do screen recording. I'm screen recording now. Okay, let me hit my laser rangefinder. And you see how that little green box pops up? But then on the right hand side of the screen it says 34 yards. So that little green box is measuring constantly what my yardage is. And now let's see, this box should be around 20, okay? It's at 24. And now let's see what this one is. 43. So that's why I like it. I like it continuously ranging. Now this one should be a little more than 50. Okay, because that is what we're going to be shooting at, 51. But now with the ballistics data that I've already input into here, as soon as I click the laser rangefinder again, so the last thing that it says is 51 yards. So I'm going to click it again and that green square is going to disappear. But we're going to get a separate green thing on our reticle. So you can see this green thing right here that's now on top of the box. So with the ballistics data and with that ballistics coefficient, it's able to calculate, given a certain yardage, the height that you need to shoot. I'm gonna go grab those two at 30. It fires fast and they're jammed in there, so this might take a sec, but I'll be right back. All right, they came out a lot easier than I thought they were going to. So we've got these two. Instead of 30, we're gonna shoot 50. We're gonna use that ballistics data, and hopefully everything that we input will help us stay true. Again, loading this thing. There's not another crossbow on the market that will shoot 407 grains, 370 feet per second, that you can reload in less than 10 seconds. I'm sorry, there's just not another one. If you're interested, I'll have a link in maybe I'll pin a comment, but you can go to ballista.co. This thing's awesome. I'm gonna aim right in the center of that thing, and you know what? We're actually gonna zoom in a little bit. I'm at 4.5, 6x, 6.5x, and then we're gonna clarify our objective lens. There it is. Now I can see that dot. That's the dot that I drew on there when I was down there. Okay. Now let's take the shot. Okay. That looked like it hit low. Did it look that way to anyone else? We'll just shoot two. Coming up is our second shot. Gonna be aiming right at the same place, that dot in the center from 50. Looked like the first one hit a little low. Okay, I need to see how those are. I gotta walk down there. I think from the shadows, it's a little low and a little left. Okay, I think we're definitely on paper, but I wanna, if we can tweak it to be perfect, we're gonna tweak it to be perfect. I'll be right back. Okay, walking up to the 50. Yeah, so it's a little low, a little left, but those two, I mean, that's within 2 inches still from 50 yards, but they grouped very well. I might make a small adjustment on the zero and then try again. I'm gonna zero it just a touch. It's almost like walk back tuning or walk back aiming. Like, you can only get so precise at 30, before having to move back to see a greater difference, right? So at 30, I was pretty much right on there, but at 50, I'm a little left. So it would be a shame if this does not work, but let's hope for the best. Okay, we are recording. I'm gonna hit laser rangefinder on there, 51 yards. I have the suggested where I should aim at. I'm going to zoom in from 4.5x. I'm now at 6x. 7.5x. 7.5 feels pretty good. I'll do that. I gotta shoot one more. I think from the shadow, I am like directly under it. Again, show me another crossbow that can load that fast. I'll wait. This looks like really good news. So it looks like you can hone in your zero at a farther distance than what you put your zeroing distance at for your ballistics data. It's because that's right on there, man. That is right on there. Okay, I was at 7.5 for the last one. I'm gonna use the same data, same holdover. Okay, same holdover. Okay, it's hard to tell, man. I gotta walk up there. Put this guy back at standby. You just hit the power button once, just click, standby. Again, I'm gonna walk up there to see how we did. If they're both right there, then I'm gonna call it good for today. And then if you want, I haven't even shown you IR mode yet, but I plan on doing that. You can do IR mode during the day, but I figured during the day, why don't I show you the day, the clarity of kind of during the day, the sunlight. Is there any glare or anything like that? The scope handles really, really well in the day, I have to say. Extreme clarity, even though it only goes out to 12x, it's very, very clear. Let's shut up and walk down there and see how we did. All right, let's see. Holy cow. Let's say that did it. So from 50 yards, put one right in the dime. That is gonna be such a pain in the butt to get out. And then the other one's right below. That could just be human error. Or it could be the variance of the ballista bat or the ballista megabat reverse. I don't know how extremely accurate that is, but it seems pretty doggone accurate out to 50. That's the ZULUS V2 HD 3x12x. Pick yours up today. Being able to hone in at 50 is a really big deal, because then you can walk back tune. And that for me is huge, because if I eventually wanted to shoot at 75, 80, 90, 100 yards, I would be able to do that now because I know that I have the ability to walk back tune. This thing is amazing. We can come out tonight and we'll do some shots with like the IR, or like you can see night mode, and then we'll set the camera up so you can see the lighted nocks fly. It's really, really satisfying. And then I'll remember to bring like a light or something so that we can shine it on the target down there. All right, let's talk about how to find the correct ballistic coefficient. So we started at 30. We shot right here, boom, boom. We're zeroed at 30 yards. And then we went to, that's 50 right there. It's actually 51 yards. We know that from our shooting just a second ago. Now say I have my the recommended ballistic coefficient is G7.04 to 0.08. Now that's not a very big range. So I picked just randomly 0.05 for my first one. And now what's recommended to do is to take your crosshairs, just like they are, put it in the center of the target and fire a bolt. Now obviously I'm 0 to 30, so at 50 my bolt is going to hit somewhere down here, right? So say it hits here. Then what I'm going to do is click my laser rangefinder. You see the little green box? I'll put it over the target. It says 51. Click it again. And now you see that extra little green hash that I have on there? I'm going to put my crosshairs back in the center, just like this. And then you see where my green mark is. Now if my arrow, my actual impact point of my arrow is above that green mark, it means I need to increase my ballistics coefficient. So that's why I went from 0.05 to 0.08 and then to 0.09 eventually. Now if that, you don't want to put it green mark there, that's not how you do it. You do it the actual center of the crosshairs and then you reference your green mark. So center of the crosshairs here. Now say my arrow was way below my green mark. That would mean I would need to, you always go towards your actual impact point of your arrow. So that would mean I would need to decrease. So say there's a green mark there and then maybe like 3 inches lower is my actual impacted arrow. So you always go to the impacted arrow, so I would have to go and decrease my ballistics coefficient. So that's the rule. You go towards your impacted arrow with the actual center of the crosshairs on what you're aiming at. And that's how you do it. So I know the IR works perfectly fine during the day, but I want to show you how well it works at night, because it's incredible. We're going to shoot some at the 30-yard target. It's just going to be quick, couple of shots. I just want you to be able to see the shots fly through the air. The green knocks are really, really green on these crossbow bolts. And I'll line you up so hopefully you'll be able to see the shot. You'll be kind of like over my back shoulder as I'm taking the shot. Let me just get everything set up real quick. Thank you for your patience. Okay. Alright, I think we got everything set up. If you look right there, that's our target. I'm going to be right behind here. Let's get it going. That IR mode, the black and white mode, once you turn that IR flare on, it's like a whole nother world. Alright, let's drill this thing. Okay, so this is 30 yards color. This isn't even black and white or IR mode. I just wanted you guys to see this. I don't have any lights on going down there. It looks like somebody's shining their truck lights on there. I promise there's nothing like that going on. You can probably see it on the camera behind me. Let's see how the zoom works. Yeah, I mean I'm right up on there. I can even see the dots that we were shooting at earlier. So that's incredible. That's just normal color mode. Now let's switch over to IR. I'm going to lose you for just a sec, but then I'll turn the recording back on. Okay, so we just switched over to IR mode. It's really not that much of a difference without the IR flare on from the colored mode. So this scope, you could run it uncolored and still see animals and stuff at night. Now let me show you when we switch this IR flare on, what's going to happen. It might cut you out for just a second. Look at the clarity. I mean, that's amazing that it was able to just do that. That is a huge, huge switch. I mean, look at how far we're able to zoom in on the dots. We're gonna take our first shot. White and black mode with the IR flare on is insane. I'm just gonna aim center. Look at that. Look at that. That's exactly where I aimed. Okay, we're going to shoot another one, and I'm going to put it directly to the right of it. Okay, I've got bolt number 2 loaded up. Try to put it in that hole on the right. Golly! It's literally, that's 12x zoom. Let me show you that. That's where we are. Unbelievable. This thing is a menace. I mean, look at this. It's nothing's hiding from this. Okay, I'm gonna keep the IR mode recording. This is an unloaded crossbow, so don't think it's not dangerous at all. It's not loaded. I just want to see what I look like as I walk down there. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Check them out, dude. Those day-night scopes, ZULUS V2 HD 3x12x. Get you some. All right, you guys have a good night. Always remember, live what you love.